Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time for Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. And of course, you know Brian's in there, right? He's a focal point of every show that we do here for Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. So not only does Brian Alvarez catch some strays from the GOAT, Meltzer Said What this week and on this episode of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. And big shout outs to Meltzer Said What, by the way. Go and give him a follow. Dave and his merry band of voting sycophants discuss CM Punk's candidacy for the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. And Meltzer Said What's comments on this are Punk's a Hall of Fame drawn worker, but previously, or this is what Dave's about to say, previously he was mean to AEW, which made him not a Hall of Famer because AJ Lee came back, etc., etc. Let's take a listen. These are Dave's sycophants. So before we dive into Dave, okay, here on Double DMW Thursday nights, we are going to dive into some of his little followers here at the Observer. And here's them pretty much just coping about CM Punk being voted into the Hall of Fame of the Observer like it matters. Nerd alert!
Interesting. Because this is the first year I will be voting for CM Punk. My hold up on him, I've always said Hall of Fame draw, great worker. That wasn't my issue. My issue was his past behavior and its impact on AEW's business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I thought he's still active.
And I thought this thing was real.
At a high level, and there's always going to be
He's a high level worker.
Again. However, certain things this year.
However, I find it rather elementary. Who is this?
One of them being that his wife now works with WWE. Therefore, he's much more, I think, emotionally bound to make sure this works well, I would think. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you didn't say The Miz thinks he's a nice guy.
And the other thing, and this is going to sound like a negative, it's not a negative, it's actually a positive in terms of getting me to actually vote for him. His efforts to be a company man, especially in relation to some of his comments about Saudi Arabia, and his efforts to...
What does any of that have to do with being in the Hall of Fame?
Almost willingly make himself look like a hypocrite. I can't see how, when you're that deep into I want this to work, I don't think he's an idiot, right? I think he does want this to work. I don't think he's going to blow it up. So that one,
it's more than we can say about you, my friend.
No. So I think I'm calling it a hypocrite like it's a negative, but for me it's a positive because it means that I don't think he's going to mess this up. I feel much more comfortable as a result of that voting for him. Hopefully that makes sense. So yes, I will be voting for him as well, and I'll be voting for Becky. And look, I don't
look. See, these are like Meltzer stands. They stand Meltzer. They sound just like him. What are we doing today, boss? You know, the thing, like CM Punk is a draw. He was all of AEW's business at one point. He comes back to WWE, he moves the needle, he sells merch, and that's just like if we're talking metrics, that makes him a Hall of Famer, right? Because it's not easy for wrestlers to just sell merch, and like at the level some of these guys have. Even in WWE, though, some people get an end of the stick on that, and they don't sell too much merch or draw too much in that regard. But we're talking about a guy who's a multi-time world champion. Wrestled the who's who, the guy. It's CM Punk, the guy that they chanted for a decade. They wanted for a decade while he was gone. And I mean that he's Hall of Fame worthy in your little Mark magazine, in any little Mark magazine, in any Phil Marks magazine coming soon. $14.99, Brian. No, I'm just kidding. But let's just scroll through here. So that's a bingo. We'll circle back to the Bad Bunny stuff here. New subscribers get 50% off their first month. So there you go. There's a little plug. There's a little plug on PWT for you. Let's see here. So 2 more hilarious clips from Dave's Echo Chamber, WON, Hall of Fame discussion. John Muse confirms that he also previously didn't vote for CM Punk because he was mean to AEW. Ethan Tyler then uses cage match. These all sound like Englishmen. This is the new lineup at Cultaholic. Ethan Tyler then uses cage match rating stats of ZSJ matches rated 8+10 to make the argument that ZSJ is a Hall of Famer. These guys are fucking insane.
Fucking Mark!
Man, so let's take a listen here to John Muse and Ethan Tyler. Support Wrestle Talk. Might as well be. Might as well have that fucking drop after this, after saying that. But they use cage match ratings here. I like ZSJ. I do. I'm not shitting on him, but like a Hall of Famer, bro, he needs to get in his prime. Maybe he's in his prime now, but like where is he as a draw? I mean, I'm pretty sure New Japan was falling off while he was world champion and shit. Okay. I'm just being honest here. I don't know if ZSJ, like why you would even have the conversation of ZSJ in the same conversation as CM Punk when it comes to who you're going to put in your Hall of Fame. This shouldn't even be a debate. Not that ZSJ could never be in the Hall of Fame or that I don't think he has what it takes to be in any Hall of Fame, right? I shouldn't even have to justify this shit. We're roasting Dave. But yeah, here's just more of his sycophants just repeating this shit. And if you're in a bubble of people who repeat this shit back to each other, like ZSJ should be in the conversation of CM Punk as far as who's in the Hall of Fame, then of course you're going to like start to believe it after a while, and we can all just objectively say, even an outsider is able to say, like a casual wrestling fan, let's say somebody who's like, oh yeah, I watch AEW, oh yeah, I watch CM Punk, oh yeah, or I watch WWE, I watch TNA now and again, yeah, NXT's cool. I don't watch it all the time. You ask them, CM Punk or ZSJ. There's only one answer. Anyways, yeah. Anyway,
so John, who are
Yes.
you going to vote for in the modern category?
Punk and Cody, as we kind of discussed. And with Punk, I didn't vote for Punk the 2 years that he kind of, hurt AEW. I just said, nope, not going to do it. But then the WWE jump showed it's legit. And he's been, like Ethan pointed out, he's been a good soldier, right? So that's got me back.
A good soldier. What does it now? That's got me back to he's been a good soldier now. Just bow down, lick the boot. Just listen to, like, they're trying to paint a narrative that the guy CM Punk, who's like this big disruptor and shit in the business, now that he's like, okay, I'm gonna be a little more professional. I went to AEW. It's not like, dude, he woke up because he went to AEW and he's like, holy shit, man, this industry's doomed if I don't go back to WWE. Like, these guys really don't know what the fuck they're doing. There's no other hope. I resented WWE, but holy shit, maybe I shouldn't have walked away. My eyes are open now because I went against the grain and everything. And because he like apologized to a group of people who like live in a different part of the world where the culture's different. Oh, he's just a boot. He just got in line. And then somehow that's like this extracurricular drama bullshit. Dave controlling you and controlling your narrative, EC3. But Dave like controlling, or like you being controlled and shit, factors into just what you've accomplished in wrestling and if you should be a Hall of fucking Famer in the business of professional wrestling, the business of pro wrestling and sports and entertainment. Who's a Hall of Famer in our magazine? We write about wrestlers, the drama and the extracurricular, and if they were mean to the company I like, and if they're mean to me, and if my little sycophants go, well, he fell in line because Daddy Dave said so. That factors into whether or not, like, oh, he was a draw, he works good, he puts on great storytelling matches, he was in the ECW era, he was back in ROH having awesome matches, he went to AEW, fucking drew the only houses they ever really drew of significance on a weekly basis or whatever. They launched a whole show around him. He goes back to WWE. Da da da. Like none of that is fat. They're just talking about like, well, you know, he fell in line, so that makes me want to vote for him again. Crazy.
Go to our place with him. I am voting Moxley. I do think
Moxley.
it's time. I think he should be. You know, Ethan and I kind of go back and forth because I'm more of a fan of his work. Ethan's a little less of a fan, and I think that makes a totally understandable difference, right?
These guys are sitting here debating if Punk should go in, and then they go, it's time. Moxley should go. I mean, just many world titles in AEW. I mean, many New Japan titles.
On Moxley, one thing to point out, I did some math. He's held the belt in AEW 28% of the time it's existed, which is over. Go ahead.
I think a key part of that too is that
I'm that. Here's the thing. What the fuck? This is what's crazy. Like, how does that? What has AEW ever done in 6 years to make their title so prestigious that it outweighs the world titles that Punk? He won that world title, right? Not only that, he left the company with that title you're talking about, and he fucking won a bunch in WWE. They're sitting here honestly pretending that like the ECW world title doesn't have more prestige debatably than the fucking AEW world title does at this point in time in history, right? Like the WCW world title holds more weight. That's the thing too. Dave had to debate whether Sting, and we're going to pull his card on that as well tonight. Dave had to debate with himself and his readers and shit whether Sting is worthy to be in the Hall of Fame. Sting never had good matches. Dave buried him. He's not a great wrestler. He goes to AEW. He's having 5-star matches, being praised. He's a legend. Hall of Fame right away. It's fucking crazy, man.
he was there as the solidifying force when things were really bad.
Yes, and Tony's went to him, right?
Why does that make you a Hall of Fame? Did you draw? He was the go-to. Hey, there's some shitty indie fed you've never heard of, Dave, where there was some go-to guy when their backs were against the wall. Are they a Hall of Famer? No, but at the level. Well, what level? At the level, Phil. What level? What level? The goes to his hometown and barely sells 2,000 seats. Level as world champion? That level, dude, I don't know.
When there's a problem, Tony goes to him and Tony has confidence in him. But, you know, that there was a period where, you know, they were on the way down.
And it's crazy the way they talk about AEW, like, oh, when they were down, whenever there's problems, you know, there was a period there in times of need. This company is 6 years old.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Why is there so much turbulence and fucking ups and downs and shit? As far as like, what are you talking about, man?
And you know, and I'm not just talking about in the ring and in front of the fans. I mean the company itself. You know, I mean he really you know, basically was, you know, like you know, this whole thing could fall apart. We can't let it. You know what I mean? And he had a lot of frustrations during that period. But the point is that he was
So Dave agrees the AEW could have fallen apart.
Really valuable. And when things were bad, you know, he was the Ric Flair. I don't know what to do, you know, or whatever. And it's like, well, until we figure it out, let's go to Moxley. And
that they've lost, and what? They've lost hundreds of thousands of viewers every year and are doing shitty houses and shit. Let's go to Moxley. Here we go. Here's another clip.
John, and
yes,
Ethan, are there anyone in the Japan categories that we haven't talked about that you're going to vote for?
No, I do want to add a couple things though with Zach, that work rate analysis kind of thing I did. Zach after Ospreay was the next guy.
Well, that's
from the ranking. And high sample too. So many samples, which means that number being so high with that many samples, that is him. It's not like it's influenced by low number, anything like that. What was that, Ethan? I can tell. What you got?
This was amazing when I saw this. On Cage Match, Zack Sabre Jr. has 201 matches rated over 8 out of 10.
over 200 matches, rated 8 out of 10 on Cage Match.
Shut up, bitch!
Oh my god.
Only Osprey beats him, and it's Osprey.
Only Osprey beats him. Oh my god, of course he does.
Like 230.
Of course he does. This is outstanding. Me and my 15 friends voted that ZSJ has 200 matches, 8 out of 10. Not even Kurt Angle. Not even Kurt Angle has that. Holy shit.
That's outrageous. Like, he's miles.
That's outrageous. There are 45 people total voted on these matches. Dude, Osprey's the only person ahead of ZSJ as far as rated matches. So the cage match, folks think ZSJ is like the greatest of all time.
Head of anyone. It's not like it's just New Japan stuff. It's you know, the indies stuff, Rev Pro, etc., etc. I saw that and I was like, Jesus.
Even the Rev Pro matches. This is the fucking problem. They talk about Rev Pro as if it's better or bigger than like AEW or WWE or TNA. This is how you know it's just about moves, like the actual, the who you're facing, what level, the crowd, the storyline, the build, did it fucking draw? None of that factors in. To them, it's just the moves, the physical aspect. And then they try and lie to you and say, well, it's the sport. No, it's not, because when you're the fucking Arizona Coyotes, you become the woolly mammoths or whatever because you ain't selling fucking tickets, bud. Okay, so no, pro wrestling's about fucking getting heat and drawing houses. You do that by working marks, and you marks are working yourselves into thinking like, oh, I mean, on Rev Pro, fucking wrestled Wheeler, Utah, and fucking they had a banger.
That's something, because if you're ahead of
I might vote for him above CM Punk in the Hall of Fame, Daddy Dave. Do I get bonus points, Daddy Dave, for pointing out the cage match ratings, Daddy Dave?
Tanahashi and Ishii,
ahead of all of them.
I think if you're ahead of them, I mean, that's, you know,
I almost voted last year for him, but I thought, well, he's just starting his IWGP reign. Let me see how this goes. So I said, okay, I'll wait. But what more do we need now?
Dude, New Japan's doing the worst business ever. They're hurting so bad. They're not even doing American shows, and that's why they partnered with AEW. And this guy's just like, oh, well, he didn't even start his title reign yet in the worst era of New Japan ever.
With the work rate, he's got 2 runs.
With the work rate! With the work rate!
I don't think he's going to get in this year because he's starting off at 16%, but I think he's got a good chance. One more guy who I think we do need
is Big Show in Dave Meltzer's Hall of Fame. If the Giant isn't in Dave's Hall of Fame, it's fraudulent. The work rate. Fuck me, man.
mention. I'm not voting for him, but he was on 53% last year, and I think there's a pretty good chance he gets in. Hayabusa.
Yeah.
The new Hayabusa, or just Hayabusa overall, are they talking about gets into the Hall of Fame? I'll get behind that for now. I'll mark out with them on that. Just because, like, OG Hayabusa, you know, it's like, it doesn't really make a difference. It's not like he's making a comeback or anything anytime soon. Okay, so we have more of Dave's. Well, I think those were Dave's sycophants. Okay, but we have ratings talk. We have all sorts of things here. And we have Raj Giri, who says, oh my Lord, I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio, and those guys are actually going off about the hubris of WWE and how WWE doesn't learn from AEW, Brian. Guys, look at the trajectories of AEW and WWE over the past 4 years. If anything, it's the hubris of AEW that is preventing them from going with what is working. Dave's finger is not only off the pulse, but it's been cut off and thrown in the ocean. I feel like astronaut in the ocean, Brian. Yeah, dude, I don't know. We've covered this a bunch, how they're trying to paint this narrative of like they're attacking NXT and TNA, which we're going to get into a bit later. And what they're doing is they're trying to create this narrative of like they need to learn they lost. They need to learn a lesson. Right.
baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
WWE got their ass kicked. AEW's doing 180,000 buys and this sort of thing, right? And so that leads us to numbers talk and whatnot. So this person here responds to Switchblade, and shout out Switchblade97, a great follow. And you know, he just looks at shit as objectively as possible. I really like that, you know, whether you know it aligns with Raj or whoever else. I feel like Switchblade is like, I don't give a fuck, I'm just telling people what it is. He's like, I don't care about WWE, I don't give a fuck about, I'm just telling people what it is. So that, to me, I appreciate that approach a little bit. But this guy LJB2 says, since they introduced the Big Data Plus panel on September 1st. So what we're about to do here, folks, is catch Meltzer in, we're like he already tried to play this game this week, but we're like catching him in a game that he's going to start playing in the future moving forward. What's happening with Nielsen is they're releasing essentially fast nationals. Like, they're releasing these preliminary numbers. And so far, Switchblade DM me this, they are trending higher than the actual ratings comeback, I believe is what he said. Let me just double check that, just so I'm not butchering and giving him saying he said something that he didn't say. So he just said that they are trending. Let me just see. Okay, no doubt they will. Wrestling companies, the sheets are getting preliminary data. The trend so far is that the prelim Nielsen data is higher than the final data. So what we've noticed so far is that Nielsen's prelim numbers are skew higher. That's what the trend has been thus far. And then the actual numbers come out and they're lower. Funny how last week Dave took the high number for Dynamite, the low number for NXT, played both of those, and then tried to defend his shit and say like Program Insider was wrong. And he's going to do this a lot moving forward and it's also funny that Alfred Kunawa got attacked over all this fast national shit by Tony Khan and Dave and shit. And now Dave's using essentially preliminary numbers. No, they're preliminary numbers, Brian. Like, what is the excuse here? You're using early numbers, so fast nationals, essentially, right? You're using early numbers now, and you're going to use them, and you're going to report them and make headlines about Dynamite. You're going to wait for the real numbers for NXT, or you're going to say they did this number, but it's actually lower because of blah, 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 and you're going to explain it. We're calling you out right now, Dave. I got you, buddy. You're getting called out already. We know the game you're going to play, so I'm just like educating. We're learning. We're studying and learning, Dave. So here we go. This is just an excerpt from this article. Is there a downside to Big Data Plus panel? And my assumption is that Dave has the preliminary data because it came out earlier, and PI has the final data. Surprised that Dave is not aware of these changes. No, he is aware. He's just playing games. Quit playing games with my heart. With my heart. And so we talked about the Hall of Fame earlier. I missed this clip. This is the one I was looking for. And so here's Dave just sort of like spurging out over who he's going to put in the Hall of Fame, jumbling around. ZSJ, maybe Cody Rhodes. I don't know, Ron. It's a tough race. Who still votes on this thing? Tell anyone who votes on this thing 50% off.
Two, I think that I expect to go in or come close. I just think
if you accept if you have to, Brian,
have to be in are Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. When he retired the first time and everything, I was not that sold on him as a Hall of Famer. The longer he was gone, he became bigger and bigger because he was gone. And then when he came back, because he really is a fantastic promo and a very smart worker. You know what I mean? Like he has great matches without having great athletic ability, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And
so then what's the debate? So then what are we debating here? He won the WWE World title how many times? Huge draw. They chanted his name for 10 years. I don't get it, man.
you know, I mean, I just think that the positive.
They hijack shows going CM Punk, CM Punk. What else is there do you need to do? I thought wrestling's about getting over. He's one of the most over guys to ever get over. So what's the discussion?
Outweigh the negatives on him. And Cody, it's just like, look, we're in a boom period. We're in a boom period. It's one of the greatest periods for popularity of a company ever.
Of a company ever. Just trying to diminish Rhodes, trying to diminish WWE. It's just a boom period, and it's one of the most popular times for a company ever. Now, I do agree with Dave in that he's not wrong when he says that. He's right. I argue that the indies are seeing a boom as well. It's just, here's the thing. When it comes to AEW and WWE, yes, it's a company is feeling a boom. But when you talk about wrestling as a whole, nah, man, pro wrestling's popular again. It's just New Japan and AEW and Ring of Honor aren't popular. And so Dave does this thing where he's just like, a company, but it's just like the one you're cheering for, Dave, that shit and the companies they work with other than CMLL, which is why he tries to, CMLL's the greatest company maybe in the history of pro wrestling. That's why he, glazes Hechicero the way he does and shit. Not to shit on Hechicero, but like, come on, man. He'll be talking about these CMLL guys like it's Hogan and fucking Jake the Snake Roberts, like we're supposed to know who these people are and shit, right? But he's trying to like undercut Rhodes. Like there's a reason why Cody Rhodes is in these movies and Drew McIntyre's in these big movies and The Rock's in these fucking movies. I guess The Rock was from a generation before, but even look how popular Cena is and Roman Reigns is doing these movies, and he was just the most over guy in WWE. CM Punk's on these TV shows and in these movies. Like he just ignores all of that. No, man, these wrestlers are popular too. They don't get to write WWE. It's not like a Street Fighter on the poster when it's like the fighter select screen, from Street Fighter. It's not like all the actors are there and then on Cody Rhodes' face and Roman Reigns' face is just the WWE logo. So you can't say like, oh, it's WWE. Like, yes, it is WWE why they're getting these roles, and the people who represent them, more importantly, are why they're getting these fucking roles, because they were always offered these roles, just Vince McMahon cockblocked this shit. Vince McMahon cockblocked Stone Cold a bunch, China, even The Rock to a degree. That's why he had to fully leave. You have to. Now in WWE, they're kind of letting people do both, and it is incredibly popular. But Dave does this thing where he's like, a company, because it's just that AEW, ROH, and New Japan aren't hot. Everything else, like, I have friends who book indies, come on PWT Pod. If you go listen, I think like episode 99 or whatever, and they talk about how WWE ID has helped the indies already and how like their indies booming that they're booking and shit. And they're seeing it all over the place. And there is more work for everybody. And yes, that is partly because of Tony Khan, but it's not a coincidence. Every company other than CMLL, which like wrestling's just white hot in Mexico, but it's not a coincidence that like ROH, New Japan, and AEW are all in a lull and everything else is kind of booming. Even TNA's booming. TNA is arguably number 2. MLW's booming. What the fuck's going on? Like we live in a crazy time for wrestling, but it's not just say it's one company. I don't know, man. TNA's booming right now. Well, they were bigger a long time ago. Well, so was WWE as far as people who watch them on TV and, Stone Cold t-shirt sales or whatever. But like, it's just a different era, People sit there and go like, oh, Rod got no 3 milli on Netflix. It's like, who cares? They didn't get 10 milli like they did in 97 or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter. Head to head with Nitro, they fucking still drew 10 million watching or whatever. Like, none of that shit matters, dude. It's just a whole different era. But I think all of wrestling's sort of in a boom. Sorry, I've been harping on this, but it pisses me off when he does this because it's like the way, it's like how he's saying shit or like what he's saying, you have to like dissect it because he's trying to, it's just this underlying shit. It's like dog whistles for his fucking sycophants,
And, Roman Reigns was the top guy and now Cody's the top guy. And even if you say that the Cody era to me is too short, and which is very valid.
And he's like this old son of a bitch. These eras. What is an era? Like, how long until you go, it's an era? And he acts like Roman Roman was the champion then, and now Rhodes is the champion now. He doesn't say, like, man, Roman's a huge fucking star. He's a massive star for this. No, they could just put anyone. They could put Zach Gowen. Oh, if they had Orange Cassidy, they could make him the top guy. Like, it's
I think
just.
that what gets him in is the formation of AEW.
Yes. Oh, my God. Then, of course. It's not this world record setting attendances and all this fucking shit WWE's doing and the largest gates and blah, blah, blah. It's him starting AEW that gets him in the Hall of Fame in 2025. That shit happened at the end of the last decade, and
oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Fucking Dave.
I think that significance. I think that's almost more significant than what he's done in the last 2-3 years in WWE is just the fact that AEW formed changed the business, but also his last couple of years in WWE as a top guy, you know, on these gates that are just through the roof and, you know, having great matches.
Oh my God. He's just it's all about AEW. It's all about AEW, man. Always. Oh my God. Okay, so speaking of AEW, Meltzer said what the GOAT says. Great news, guys. Dynamite's low ratings are actually high because it's clear that more and more younger viewers are moving to HBO Max. No evidence provided aside from declining ratings. So this is the thing. We've talked about this so much. And even though Dave hasn't been incredibly vocal about this, he said it a couple times, but I've brought it up innumerable times. Like, I've just said, like, I know the way Dave thinks. I know that in his mind, and he did say it with like the basketball thing, but it's like, okay, that was an obscure, they drew whatever. But in his mind, I know that he just his back pocket excuse, desperation is going to be, well, all the young people jumped over, because before he wanted to tout the key demo, right? Like, it was about, does overall viewers matter? He says overall viewers. Then years later, he goes, key demo matters. Now the key demo's shrinking. So on PWT Live, we're always talking about how I know that that's like his back pocket excuse. And now he's gone to it. He's on the last few of his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay. And now he's just reaching for whatever he's got, and he's doing it now. He's starting to just magically, I know he said it once before when that basketball game was on, we called him out. We're like, okay, so the key demo had a huge spike too. What was that? Everyone just decided, oh, I'm not going to watch on Max this week and shit. So it's come to this where now the key demo is really strong. Obviously, it's huge on Max. He's going to say some shit like that. I can't wait.
The Dynamite show, you know, I have all the demos, I have all the quarters, and it adds up to the number that is, and I get the top 25 on cable. So, you know, everything was 638 and 0.14, which is, you know, what they've been doing essentially. Little, you know, viewers a little above average.
Viewers a little above average, but he's using the high number. He's using the wrong numbers, and he goes, oh, I think I have programming insider here, and it's he's literally using fake Fast Nationals numbers, like preliminary Nielsen numbers, and he's running with them as if they're factual and like saying this. And Brian's got to sit there, little whipping boy Brian, little piss boy Brian, has got to sit there and fucking take this and listen to this.
0.14 is a little lower. You know, obviously, I think that it's pretty clear that the younger audience is moving more and more to Max,
It's pretty clear the younger audience is moving more and more to Max. But then when the NBA game goes down and it leads into fucking Collision and they open with Omega Ospreay, and Dave goes, oh, well, they open with that really strong match. I mean, the overall rating and the key demo. Dave, no, it's that no one's watching on Max.
I expected would happen. And then, Program Insider came out with a lower number. So now on the
and then he goes, and then Program Insider came out with a lower number. So, and then he's going to try and just explain it away. What's the lower number, Dave? Why aren't you accepting it? Why are you sitting there now not like, okay, so are you calling them liars now? Now you're going to call them liars or what? Like, what are you better choose your next words wisely here.
Wednesday numbers, every show that was top 25 that I got the rating of, that was listed by Programming Insider, the numbers were different. And not all of them were lower. Like the baseball game was higher in Programming Insider. Let me just see right here.
Hey, none of that matters. See, this is the problem. Dave then goes apples to oranges. Well, the baseball game, and not all of them are lower, so we're just going to go with this higher one. I think they misprinted and they lied. Meanwhile, Dave Meltzer isn't studying the fucking Wagyu beef business. Okay?
Learn,
this is
baby,
the problem.
learn.
He's not
Meltzer
studying and learning.
Inferno.
How come Switchblade 97 can get on Twitter and go, oh, yo, the Nielsen, they're releasing prelim numbers, and then Programming Insider waits for the real numbers, and they're lower. And so far, wrestling, apples to apples, wrestling, bro. WWE and AEW, the numbers they come out higher than they are, and then they're lower. The actual ones are lower. How come he could figure that out? And then you ignore that and don't tweet about it and don't bitch at people to study and learn who share the wrong numbers. Then you talk about the wrong numbers. And then you say Programming Insider had other numbers. But I mean, like over here, Ancient Aliens and Boy Meets World reruns and Big Bang Theory's numbers weren't all lower, Brian. They were equal to or higher. What the fuck does that have to do with AEW or WWE? What the fuck does that have to do with you choosing the high for AEW and the low for WWE and running with it? Dude, you're caught. You're busted. Busted through and through. I caught you going out with somebody new. I hope you understand when I say this to you. You had your one chance. Now I'm done with you, Brian. God damn it. Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week, number 1. Let's go.
Yeah, the baseball game was higher. Challenge was let me see. Challenge was slightly lower. Fox News, Jesse Waters was mixed. I mean, had more viewers, less 18 to 49 in Programming Insider than the actual number. Hannity had.
What the fuck, bro? What the fuck does Hannity have to do? Holy shit, he doesn't study and learn. He doesn't know, like, how this shit works. He doesn't understand, like, yeah, the Hannity is nothing. It's not pro wrestling. So it's different, Dave. It works different. It's not the same thing. Compare wrestling to wrestling. Brian's just sitting there. Oh, God, I have to just take this. Hopefully he's dead in a few years and I don't have to I can just inherit this shit, you know. Hey, Brian's saying that. Not me, dude. Not me. That's what Brian's saying. Blame Brian.
Had more viewers on the number. Dynamite had less viewers and an 0.11, which is like ridiculously low. South Park was down.
South Park
so,
was
I mean,
down.
Whatever. You know, it's like there's two sets of numbers. I don't know why. No one's given an explanation.
Oh, my God. I just explained it, Dave. Fucking Switchblade explained it. You just block everyone who explains it. And then you blow BJ Bethel under a fucking table while he plays StarCraft 2.
Hopefully the numbers are the same next week, but it was quite a confusing week. You know,
no, it's not that confusing, you dumbass.
I mean, it appears that Dynamite did well. You know, I mean,
it appears it did. I mean, it appears it did well, but I'm just probably lying. Liar!
They didn't beat the Major League Baseball game on ESPN.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Dave just said AEW didn't beat the MLB on ESPN. No shit, stupid.
They were behind Challenge. But still, you know, I mean, Challenge isn't on live on their
they have to sit there and just pretend like these shows are all in the same stratosphere.
Streaming, so it's got an advantage. The baseball.
he just talks entirely out of his butt cheeks, man. It's pretty crazy. So I posted this. These are a couple of screen grabs courtesy of some pals so that were sent to me, and I wrote, whatever the TV ratings were last week, all I know for sure is that Dave Meltzer didn't study and learn anything and chose the high for AEW and the low for WWE and hasn't corrected himself or acknowledged it yet. And yeah, we just see them like they're right there. NXT 0.12, 0.62. And then Dynamite 0.11. So Dave said that, oh yeah, and this is the funniest part. Ready? So Dave said that it was a 0.14 in the key demo, right? Which is wrong. It was a 0.11. And then he said that the viewers were like a 625, not too bad, but it was like a 0.55, which is one of the lowest.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
I mean, you can't even make that shit up. So good stuff. Oh, look at that there. So Dave had this to say, based except it's actually except based on Netflix's numbers. Raw did its record low last week, 9/22 show. Against the Lions versus Ravens game. I'll have a story up with the details after analyzing the numbers. This also came right after the pay-per-view. We just saw the way you analyze the numbers, Dave, and they're fucking fraudulent. Idiot. They're fucking fraudulent. You don't know how to analyze them. Your boy Phil Marks analyzes them better than you, and I'm a dumb fuck. I'm a full-blown redact, okay? So we're going to circle back to that. Again, Switchblade posts this. Mr. Study and Learn has no idea why there are discrepancies between his numbers and the final numbers put out by Programming Insider. It's because Nielsen have changed their system, and Dave, the sheets have been... So Switchblade's first language is in English as well, right? So it's a little broken. He's not redacted like myself. The sheets have been reporting preliminary numbers. PI reports the real final numbers. So there you go, right? There's a guy smarter than me explaining it. And so speaking of BJ Bethel, or blowjob brothel, as Meltzer said what calls them. Again, Meltzer said that. Meltzer said what said that shit, not me, bro. No, I don't give a fuck. But it's like the Jim Cornette thing. I can't start remembering multiple names for people, you know? It's like Bishop Dyer, Baron Corbin, Tom Pestock. You know, I can hardly remember those three. Once I forget that, I'm losing my sanity, folks. So, hey, brothel, meaning Bethel. Maybe if you removed your lips from Dave's balls, I'll say it, you would have heard him say 100 times that we literally don't know the HBO Max numbers, despite the fact that he constantly contradicts himself by printing fake numbers he invented, just like your dumbass. Also, Dave will deny Bethel's numbers. Like, oh, no, they're too high. I mean, it's just what Bethel said. But then he'll fucking say, like, well, a significant report. Like, he'll use that. A report said they're 500,000. What report? It's Bethel's report. So it's like a weird masturbatory thing to steal the line from Eric Bischoff because, again, I've explained this a bunch of times, but it is double DMW #1, episode 1 here. So, like, you know, Eric Bischoff would always be like, it's masturbatory. And I thought it was, he meant in some regards, like, you know, it's just Dave jerking himself off, like thing. It's that, but it's also like these guys are in a circle jerk, like they're blowing each other in this little echo chamber, you know, because Bischoff would say like it's incestuous or whatever, and I didn't quite understand what he meant, you know, but this is what it is, man. It's like BJ and Dave and Tony Khan, and they're just like telling each other sweet little lies and shit, and pushing this out there that thing, like, you know, more people are watching fucking Dynamite on Max than are watching Raw, or like if you combine the Max and the TBS numbers, they're beating Raw and shit, right? Like, you guys just outlandish shit. So anyways, meanwhile, also, if AEW was on Netflix and they just put Dynamite on Netflix and it was #1 on Netflix, we'd all shut the fuck up and go, dude, they're #1 on Netflix. And also, they'd be going crazy. Sickos and Dave would be like, oh, it's raining, man. Hallelujah, right? They'd be going nuts, man. Tony Montana would be going insane. He'd get his white suit out and everything. Anyways, though, So Brian, we played this on, I think, the last show, the last Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week on PWT Live. But Brian defends Dave, and he's like, none of us actually believe Bethel's thing. Like, it's just what he reported. However, Dave has gone to it, like sourced it when debating people as a credible report. So what is it? Do you guys believe it or not? So Meltzer said what? Pardon me. Again, plays a clip, a more recent clip of Dave saying that they literally don't know the numbers, etc. And we have some cards pulled here from the Observer itself.
Overseas territory that you really want to cultivate and be the good guys for. If you go every time in the afternoon, you are beating WWE because they're still going to do a lot of nighttime shows.
And it's clear, and I'm assuming it's because of that Wembley show next year. He is tracking the rating stuff really closely.
But he always does. Tony's Tony's very, very into ratings.
But he doesn't know his own TV ratings? This is from a few days ago, by the way.
Probably from a Tony standpoint, makes this period so frustrating because for him and for me and for anyone who follows it, because we literally don't know.
No, it's not frustrating. It's only frustrating because and then he goes, we literally don't know. So then you're lying about the max numbers and the estimates, and they're beating Raw. So you're lying. All you dumb fucking sickos hate listening or hate watching the show right now. Boom. They don't know. They're lying. All the numbers you guys are playing with, they're fucking lies. They're invisible. It's invisible math. People are just inventing things in their fucking head. Boom. He just admitted it right there. It's a few days ago. Okay? On top of that, he's sitting there and he's like, oh, the key demo's likely going more to max, which I knew it would. But you just said you don't know. You're lying. You're fucking admitting you're lying. It's not even catching you. You're just saying one thing and then saying a whole other fucking thing.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
But when it comes to Bethel, there you go. The 500,000, nobody knows. And Dave is saying he doesn't know. And how incompetent is Tony Khan that he doesn't fucking know? He hasn't walked into an office and been like, what are the fucking numbers? Like, Tony, who's representing you? Who's going to bat for you? Who are you going to bat for? What the fuck? You don't know your numbers. And Meltzer will sit there and go, the NBA doesn't know their numbers. Bro, the people who own and run the NBA know the people who need to know the numbers know the numbers. Trust me on that, dude. You're insane. Dave's fucking nuts, and he's just admitting we don't know, and it's so frustrating because we can't lie. The lies are frustrating because we tell lies and people call us on them. And then we say we actually don't know, it's invisible, and then they're mad, and we're like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Like you and I talk about, we have no idea what's doing. We have
no idea. We have no idea what it's doing. Then why do you ever talk about it?
We have an idea, but we really don't know because we're only getting 64% of the data, or whatever you want to call it.
All right, last one here.
64, Nintendo 64. And then here's Dave, like he's going, Dynamite would have only needed 110,000 viewers on HBO Max to beat the number. I figure it would have gotten easily on a live and same day basis. But you just said you literally don't know, so how can you say easily? How could you say that? Well, I can estimate based on what? Well, I mean, come on, there's gotta be. I mean, there used to be 800,000 watched on. Yeah, and there used to be 11,000 people in the fucking buildings. And Tony Khan used to not cut corners on buildings, and he used to fucking just hire everyone. Things change, Dave. Seems like everything's trending downwards, and you're just pretending that the TV viewership's up, though. For the full week, Dynamite would need about 388,000 viewers on HBO Max to beat the US Raw figure as a full week number. I wouldn't rule that out, but wouldn't call it a sure thing. He has no idea what he's talking about. BJ Bethel just blowing him. The flute man cometh. Oh, BJ, is that like your name or is that what you do? Go. But he's like, must read. A must read. Jesus Christ. So LMAO, this is from Meltzer said, what? Dynamite Dave saying Dana White's 60 Minutes interview didn't feel like a big deal because his usual sycophants didn't email him about it. So again, speaking of Dave's little followers, right? So 60 Minutes season 58 premiere scores over 10 million viewers, down slightly from previous opener. Exclusive. The episode was up 5% from its performance on the same night in 2024. So for those of you who don't know, 60 Minutes did a piece on Dana White, and they followed him around. They went to the casino with him and shit. And he went into the casino. He went down 1.2 million, and then he went up. And then he went up 700K by the time he left the casino. I mean, that's crazy. And yeah, there was a profile on Dana White. Yahoo's talking about it. And basically, Meltzer said what is responding to this. It averaged 10.025. And so Dave Meltzer, I guess, said that the Dana White interview didn't feel like a big deal because no one emailed him about it. I would love a clip of that, but you can just fucking, take Meltzer's word for that, unless he's being sarcastic. But I'm sure there's something I thought I bookmarked that I didn't, or it's somewhere here. But again, just speaking of numbers and all of this shit, we have Nicolo Piccolo going off. So Dave Meltzer says this to this guy, DYI, who says the script is flipped. Now that they can point to unconfirmed numbers from Max, viewership does matter again. And that's so true. Like, Dave just goes, oh, I'm sure the key demo's up. It has to be. I know it is. But there's no evidence of that. He's just saying that. Then he's like, we literally don't know, and blah, blah, blah. But his response to this is, except yawn super tribal fans not realizing that it is the demo success of SmackDown that keeps them number 1 or number 2 most weeks, as tons of Fox News shows beat them in viewers. No, Dave, he didn't say anything about that. He didn't say anything about that. He's saying that you are now going to, what we just played a clip of you doing, go on your show and write in your newsletter that, well, for sure the key demo's up because they're watching on Max. And then you'll literally turn around and go, we actually don't know. We have no fucking clue. I'm just making it up. Okay, so what about WWE is this guy talking about, man? It's so fucking stupid. And then Nicolo Piccolo comes in and says, Dave, I'm genuinely not sure you understand this. Suggesting SmackDown competes with Fox News is the media analysis equivalent of saying 5G controls the weather. They control the weather. Or that drinking bleach cures disease. It's absurd. Man, it's true, dude. And this is the thing. It's conspiracy theory shit, man. And here's the thing. We just pointed out and I just broke down and flipped out about Dave comparing like Gutfeld to fucking SmackDown or Dynamite to fucking the MLB game. It's like, no, dude, compare it to wrestling. He has no idea. It's all about media and ad sales. Right. That works differently for everything. Like, you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyways, so Nicolo Piccolo says SmackDown and Fox News aren't even in the same category. Advertisers, buyers, and network executives don't benchmark WWE against Hannity reruns. They measure it against live sports and primetime entertainment on broadcast and cable. And this is where Dave didn't study and learn. This is where he's gaslit for so fucking long. So many people, man. He's gaslit so many of his sycophants, I guess, which is like the through line of this episode.
Poor people don't like AEW.
And so Nick continues here. WWE sells into the same budget and demo pool as the NFL, NBA, scripted tentpoles, and other live entertainment properties. That's where the CPMs and brand safety considerations and rights values actually sit. No advertisers reallocating spend from cable news to buy WWE. They're entirely different marketplaces with different audiences and commercial objectives. Boom. That's what I said before. The only meaningful comparison is WWE against peer programming in its slot and the broader live sports entertainment bucket. That's why NBCU, Fox, and Netflix are paying billions for rights. Dragging cable news into this discussion is irrelevant, misleading, and shows a fundamental failure to grasp how media rights actually work, which genuinely isn't surprising by now either. And honestly, Dave, like, study Nick. He's giving you free game. He'll make you better at what you're doing, what you're trying to do. Just read what like Tony Khan should hire this guy to like coach Dave on what to actually do. I'm not joking. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that. This guy's just spitting game. Like, why wouldn't you take him up on the shit he's saying? That's all. I don't know. Meltzer said what goes, Dave, you thought this fake Excel sheet was a WBD internal memo. You're not qualified to be a reporter for BJ Bethel's high school newspaper. Right? So he responds, you guys remember this spreadsheet that he got from like a Fightful Discord or something? $3,000 per ad and shit. He just what a dumbass. God damn, Dave is so stupid. That was one of the greatest fails ever. That was just last year, wasn't it?